Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old Charles. Today, we are diving deep into the history, value, and collectability of one of Australia's most iconic coins, the 1976 Australian 20-cent coin. If you're a coin collector, a history lover, or someone curious about the treasures hidden in everyday change, then this video is for you. Let's start with the background. The Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966, the year Australia switched from pounds, shillings, and pence to decimal currency. This coin replaced the old florin, which had been worth 2 shillings. The reverse side of the 20-cent coin, designed by sculptor Stuart Devlin, features the beautiful and flowing image of a platypus swimming in water, a design that is still used today. The platypus is one of Australia's most unique animals, a creature so unusual that early European explorers thought it was a hoax. The obverse side of the 1976 20-cent coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984 and 1976. These coins were struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, and they were made from 75% copper and 25% nickel. With a diameter of 28.65 millimeters and a weight of 11.31 grams, the 20-cent coin is one of the largest circulating coins in Australia. In terms of mintage, the 1976 20-cent coin had over 22 million coins produced for circulation. This means it's not considered extremely rare, but after almost 50 years, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is becoming harder and harder. Back in 1976, these coins were used in everyday purchases, from groceries to petrol, and most were heavily circulated. That's why condition plays such a huge role in determining the coin's current value today. So, what is the value of a 1976 Australian 20-cent coin? Well, in circulated condition, the type you might still find in old change jars, wallets, or inherited coin collections, these coins are usually worth around 20 cents to $1 AUD. That means most circulated coins are still only worth their face value or slightly more. However, if you have a coin in uncirculated condition, shiny, with no scratches, or where the value can increase significantly, collectors will pay between $5 and $15 AUD for coins in high-grade uncirculated condition. And if you happen to find a proof coin from a mint set, the value can be even higher, sometimes reaching $20 to $30 AUD, depending on demand and condition. There are also some coins with striking errors, for example, off-center strikes, double strikes, or coins with planchet flaws. These error coins are much rarer and can sell for $50 to several $100s, depending on the type of error. Condition, also called grading, is one of the most important factors when it comes to coin collecting. A circulated coin will show wear, scratches, and loss of shine. An extremely fine, EF, coin will have slight wear but still clear details. An uncirculated, UNC, coin has never been used in circulation, and it looks almost brand new. A proof coin is a specially struck coin with a mirror-like finish, usually sold to collectors directly by the mint. Oh, if you have a 1976 Australian 20-cent coin, take a close look. If it's heavily worn, its value is closer to face value. But if it's shiny, crisp, and free from scratches, you could be holding on to a small but valuable collectible. Here are some fun facts for collectors. 1. The platypus design by Stuart Devlin is one of Australia's longest-running coin designs, still in circulation nearly 60 years later. 2. The 20-cent coin is sometimes jokingly called a mini frisbee by Australians because of its large size and weight compared to other coins. 3. Collectors often look for full sets of 20-cent coins from 1966 to the present day, and the 1976 issue is an essential piece of that puzzle. 4. Keep an eye out for coins with unusual toning. Some collectors pay extra for coins with attractive rainbow-like colors caused by aging metal. So, the 1976 Australian 20-cent coin may not make you rich overnight, but it's a fascinating piece of history. From its elegant platypus design to its role in Australia's decimal currency system, this coin is both a collectible treasure and a reminder of the everyday lives of Australians in the 1970s. To really understand the history of the 1976 Australian 20-cent coin, we need to go back in time, not just to 1976, but to the mid-20th century, when Australia was making one of the biggest changes in its monetary system. For many years, Australia used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system, inherited from Britain. 1 pound was divided into 20 shillings, and each shilling into 12 pence. While this system worked for centuries, it was considered outdated and difficult for modern trade, especially as Australia became more globalized after World War I. In 1966, Australia officially introduced decimal currency, simplifying everything into dollars and cents. 1 Australian dollar was equal to 100 cents, and this transition was a major cultural and financial event. To replace the old coins, a new range of decimal coins was introduced: 1 cent, 2 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, and 50 cents. The 20-cent coin replaced the florin, which had been worth 2 shillings. Interestingly, both coins were similar in size and weight, so Australians could easily get used to the change. The government even launched large advertising campaigns, with jingles and educational materials, to teach people how to use the new money. Now, why the platypus? The 20-cent coin was designed by Stuart Devlin, a famous Australian goldsmith and coin designer, often called the father of modern coin design. Devlin wanted to showcase native Australian wildlife, and for the 20-cent coin, he chose the platypus swimming in rippling water. This choice was symbolic, because the platypus is one of the most unique animals in the world, representing both Australia's distinct natural environment and its cultural identity. The obverse side of the 1976 coin, like all coins of the time, carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This particular portrait was designed by Arnold Machin, an English sculptor, and was introduced in 1966. It became one of the most widely reproduced images of the Queen, appearing not only on Australian coins but also on British and Commonwealth coinage throughout the 1960s, 70s, and early 80s. By 1976, the 20-cent coin had already been in circulation for a decade, and it was firmly established as an essential part of everyday life in Australia. People used it to buy groceries, newspapers, bus tickets, and petrol. Back then, 20 cents had much more purchasing power than today. For example, in the 1970s, 20 cents could buy you a loaf of bread or a liter of milk. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra produced millions of these coins to keep up with circulation needs. Over 22 million coins were struck in 1976 alone. This made the coin common in everyday transactions, but at the same time, each coin carries with it a piece of Australian history, from the era of economic growth, political changes, and cultural transformation in the 1970s. Australia in the 1970s was experiencing change. The country had recently withdrawn from involvement in the Vietnam War, the economy was adjusting to global oil shocks, and society was becoming more modern and multicultural. Coins like the 20-cent piece were small everyday items, but they connected people across all walks of life, rich or poor, city dwellers or rural farmers, children saving pocket money or adults paying bills. The 1976 coin also has historical importance because it reflects Australia's commitment to showcasing its national identity. Unlike earlier colonial coinage, which often displayed symbols of Britain, the decimal coins highlighted Australian animals and culture. The platypus design has stood the test of time, remaining unchanged for nearly 60 years. That continuity gives the coin a sense of tradition and stability, making it one of the most recognizable coins in Australian history. So, the 1976 Australian 20-cent coin is not just a piece of metal. It represents the success of Australia's decimal currency system, the artistry of Stuart Devlin, the global reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and the everyday lives of Australians in the 1970s. It's a small window into a fascinating era of history. When it comes to determining the value of a 1976 Australian 20-cent coin, the most important factor is its condition. Collectors, dealers, and grading experts all look at how well the coin has survived the passage of time. Coins go through a grading scale that ranges from heavily worn pieces that have seen decades of circulation, all the way to pristine proof coins that have never touched human hands outside of protective cases. Let's break it down step by step. Most of the 1976 20-cent coins you will find today are in circulated condition. These coins were used every single day in shops, banks, schools, and markets. Naturally, they show signs of wear and tear. The Queen's portrait may look smooth, with details in her hair and crown fading away. The platypus design on the reverse may lose sharpness, with the water ripples becoming faint or flat. The coin will often have scratches, small dents, or even discolored spots from years of handling. The shine, known as mint luster, is usually completely gone. In circulated condition, these coins are usually worth only their face value of 20 cents, or perhaps up to $1 AUD if they are in better than average shape. Coins in fine condition are still clearly identifiable, but much of the detail has worn away. The platypus might appear flatter, and the Queen's features may be faint and very fine condition. The coin is sharper, with most major details visible, though wears obvious on the highest points of the design. Collectors will pay slightly more for coins in this range, maybe around 50 cents to $2 AUD. Because they are better preserved than average circulation coins. An extremely fine coin has only light wear and still shows crisp detail. You can see the Queen's hairlines, her crown's details, and the platypus ripples clearly. The coin may have a little dullness from handling, but it is much closer to uncirculated quality. These coins are more desirable to collectors. Values for EF coins range between $3 and $5 AUD. Now we move into the category that excites collectors. Uncirculated coins. An uncirculated 1976 Australian 20-cent coin has never been used in day-to-day transactions. It was kept aside from circulation, often directly from the mint or carefully stored away by a collector. Perfect coins with glowing luster and no noticeable marks. These are highly prized by collectors and can sell for $20 to $30 AUD or more. These coins are often kept in protective holders, so they remain untouched by air, moisture, or human fingers. Finally, there are proof coins. These were never made for circulation but were struck especially for collectors in mint sets. Proof coins are struck with highly polished dies, giving them a mirror-like finish on the background and sharp, frosted detail on the designs. A proof 1976 Australian 20-cent coin can be worth between $20 and $40 AUD, and sometimes higher if it comes in its original case or set. Condition isn't just about wear. Some unique features can make a coin more valuable. If a 1976 20-cent coin was struck, off-center, double-struck, or struck on the wrong planchet, it becomes extremely collectible. These errors can push values from $50 up to several $100s, depending on rarity. Over time, some coins develop beautiful rainbow-like colors on the surface due to chemical reactions with the air. Collectors often prize these toned coins, and depending on appearance, they can be worth more than standard uncirculated examples. If you have a 1976 Australian 20-cent coin, how you store it matters. Coins kept in coin albums, protective flips, or capsules stay in better condition. Coins left loose in drawers or jars will get scratches and wear quickly, reducing their value. Collectors always recommend handling coins by the edges only, never touching the faces, because skin oils can cause long-term damage. When it comes to condition, the story of a coin's life is written on its surface. A heavily circulated coin tells us about its journey through countless hands, shops, and transactions, while a shiny proof coin speaks of careful preservation and rarity. Whether worn or pristine, every 1976 Australian 20-cent coin has its place in history, but for collectors, the better the condition, the higher the value.